Hitting the buzzer beater or something. Championship game. Dream team. Feeling better than I ever been. Cairo in his bag, this beat is heaven sent. Back up in my element, new whip, trunk up in the front, I whip an elephant. It's all limo tent, that's how you move when you the president. You assin' off stream, treat him like my last name. Disrespecting, you just signed a check for a long day. Appetizer rappers, you will never be an entree. Really, you a condiment, and I hope y'all follow this. Crazy how people with the most money lack the common sense. Batman over Gotham, how I'm over shit. Running this game, now they finally noticing. Hear us on TV like, damn, yup, I know that's them. Just had to pay the dues. Now I feel like we could never lose. But it's us against the world. Now we finally got the tools. Watch a few years later, turn a puddle to a pool. We just gotta keep it hot to keep the family living cool. All we do is win like a size dad. I just bought my mom a Louis V bag. I just took little bro to BB Simons.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back into the Coach Terrell Buckley Show, episode 6. Me and my guy, Coach Buckley, spent a little bit of time last week, man, recapping National Signing Day. We're going to take a real in-depth look at some of the players that are going to be headed to the Delta this upcoming season. I'm joined by my co-host, Coach Leroy, Frederick, Associate Head Coach, Inside Wide Receivers Coach, and then, of course, the star of the show, the man himself, Mississippi Valley State Head Coach, Coach Terrell Buckley. As always, this show's brought to you guys by the V Club. You can find all the links, descriptions on what the V Club does for everything they do for Mississippi Valley State below on the YouTube channel. But Coach Buckley, man, we're back. We have a bunch of guys we want to chop it up about, man. But first, how we feeling, Coach?
Man, feeling really good. We finishing. We have finished this recruitment class off, so that's always a big relief when you can go get the guys that you identified that can help you take this thing to the next level. So I'm pretty excited. I'm feeling really good.
Coach Fred, you weren't here last week, and so you missed our great National Signing Day preview last week. We chopped it about the Super Bowl, a handful of other topics, man. I'm gonna toss it to you. Let's get some recruiting off your chest, man, because I grilled Coach T-Buck last week about all my questions about position by position, Coach. We didn't skip anything. We talked about special teams, from quarterbacks, O-line, D-line. So, Coach Fred, I'm going to toss it to you, man, to kick this thing off.
Man, the thing that I'm most excited about coming in is, I got to catch a little bit of the recruiting at the end, but I don't think anybody in the room has asked you, Coach, which position are you most excited about as far as the recruiting class that we got coming in here?
All these guys are special. We have some great athletes, but you and I know, if you watch the Super Bowl, where you gonna win games at, where you gonna win championships at, that is the interior guys and that defensive line. We have some guys. One name that just pops out is David Jones, the nose, big. You're going to have to block him with 2-3 people. And he's just one of several that we signed. We got better. We got bigger. We got stronger on interior part of the D-line, which is going to make us even better as a team.
D-line, like you said, really excited about that guy. And then, there's an in-state field on the O-line that, I'm pretty excited about because I remember his name coming up at my last spot. You want to care to talk about that just a little bit?
Well, we added, the goal was to get 2 deep at the O-line. We've added 9 with the possibility to add another 1 and 2. But you're talking about interior guys. We talked about the big center before. I told you about the squatting, the 800 plus pounds and bench pressing over 4. We got tackles. You talking about Marcus McDaniel that can play anywhere on the line, but is a pretty darn good tackle for us. That big, smart, athletic. That again, you win championships on that line, O and D. And I think we improved the team tremendously. on both of those fronts.
So before I pass it back to Zach here with that, and you told us today that sometimes you play favorites,
Yeah.
and you were proud to say that, but we won't put you on the spot with the new guys. But if there was a position that you had to say right now on the board as the head coach is your favorite spot, where would that be at?
Oh man, that is hard. Because the way we look and the way we're moving right now, at all the positions looks awesome. But you can't win, you can't move without that QB. So and this is not one. This is one we got last year. That Josh, I think the quarterback, it starts and finishes with the quarterback, and Josh Brown is the leader of this team, and I'm so pleased and happy with the work that he's doing, not just in the weight room and in the conditioning part, but what he's doing in the community, what he's doing in the classroom, and how he's communicating with his teammates.
So, Coach, I do want to point this out. There was a signing you guys had from overseas,
Yeah.
from London, if I'm not mistaken. Really rare to see that as in college football, but especially at the FCS level. Talk a little bit about your linebacker from the UK, man.
A linebacker from UK, he played in the we called him Agent Zero, Jay. Uh, from the NFL Europe has a program that they come over, they bring these high school young men over and they play against the top competition over here in the States. And you're talking about a big, fast, physical player that we had to get in on that. And I'm so happy that he chose us.
And then obviously you have some two-way guys that I know you're really excited about, particularly that are probably, if I'm not mistaken, going to play DB. One guy got written down here, Coach Dante Parker, coming
Yes.
in from the state of Florida. Man, talk a little bit about Dante, and then talk about some other names that might be sticking out in that DB room for you that might have been big two-way athletes that you guys recruited in this high school class.
Man, you got Dante Kelly from Florida, obviously having played in the state of Florida, and you recruiting against other schools. But I think when you got two DBs, you got the head coach and DB coach that played in the league, we kind of beat some people on that. You have Sion John from the Peach State over there in Georgia that can play both ways, and you finish up with Davion Blue that is like that. He's that type of player that can give you those DB attributes, but them receiver skills. That's what we're building here. You know, the old saying we use that you hear, even Deion says it too. He got it on the back of his wall. I saw that, but you feel good, you play good, they pay good. But you got to be a special athlete to get in that category. And those three young men that I just mentioned, they do that. They look good, they play good, they feel good, and I got a feeling they're gonna get paid good eventually.
Like, so looking at the class as a whole, which position do you feel like the most young guys are going to see action at this year? Like, and just
Hmm.
in terms of like which position are the most true freshmen really going to play this year going into 2026?
Man, that's a tough because we have them spread out. That's really tough to say because we do have some guys coming back that are good players. Uh, that is a great question. Where I would say probably somewhere in the skills, the DBs or the receivers. I think that would be two of the positions that you might see the most guys playing. Last year it was the offensive line, so it fluctuates year to year.
Coach Fred?
Man, yeah, Coach forgot to tell you and all that, man, that I got in here. He sent me to London. I went and got that kid, got him signed. He sent me down to Florida, went and got that sign. I'm just, I'm all over the place right now, B. You know what I'm saying? But, Coach, Yeah, it's a perfect lead in to where you just came from. And Zach, remind me to tell you what I told him before we get off this show, what I told Coach Buck. But you just had an event-filled weekend, Coach. You want to talk about that just a little bit?
Yes, we had the 40th anniversary of the Jim Thorpe winners in Oklahoma City, and got a chance to hang out with the drop winner, Caleb Downs from Ohio State. And then they also have HBCU award for the Heisman, Jim Thorpe kind of for DBs, which is the young man, he's going to kill me from South Carolina State.
Gerard Washington from South Carolina
Washington, that's correct, who I'm going to reach out to here shortly. Lovely family, great atmosphere. And like I was telling the team, this award is based on those two's character, 51%, 49% of athletic ability. And what we have on campus now with the character and the feel is the same feel I got when I was there. Just around a bunch of winners, how they walk, how they talk, how they act. That's what we have here at Valley now. And I'm so excited about that. Experiencing what I did in Oklahoma City, then coming back here and having that same feeling here with all guys is a sign. And I appreciate those days there with those young men and their families, and the foundation, the Jim Thorpe Foundation, putting on a first class show, recognizing us, but obviously focusing on the young men that won this year. It was an unbelievable event, and I'm thankful I had a chance to go back and get that, feel that, and come back here and have that same feeling at home.
Now, Coach, is that something? How do I put that? Is that something you think is learned, or do you think that's a God-given deal? Was that God-given for Terrell Buckley to be down there on the coast, uh, walking on his tiptoes, chest out, feeling good, looking good, playing good, or did that come about over time? So when you're in that room with those guys this past weekend, did you get the sense that it was made, or was it genuine?
Oh, it was genuine because it was earned. All that, for me, any type of success you have, right? Everybody starts at 0. Now, how do you get to 10? Now, a lot of people get to 10. So there is a lot of stuff that Lord blesses you with ability, but the character, the mindset, the work ethic, that's you have to put effort into that. And those young men earned everything that they got this past week, and they have received, and they're going to continue that, I think, as they move forward, going to the next level, going to the pro. No different than us. We're going to earn this turnaround. We're going to earn making a history. Anything worthwhile is not given to you, it's earned. And you appreciate the journey. You appreciate the memories. And you really appreciate how much hard work you had to put into it.
And when you're there, and it's a weekend event, I guess it starts Friday through Saturday.
Well, the guys that won it, they got there a little bit earlier, and then you run it through. We have they get to show you the museum. You get to see all the past winners. You get to see your jersey in there, take pictures. You do all those things. Then you have a luncheon. Those guys visit a hospital. So it's a few days. They do a few more days as winners than we do. And you get a chance to connect with the community, to let them know you appreciate them. They appreciate you. So it's a lot of love going on over those 3-4 days.
So before I pass it back to you, B, I text you this weekend, Coach, and let me get back to it because you kind of ignored it, right? And I want to make sure that we get this on wax, right? So my NIL package that I need to get from Coach Buckley includes an autographed jersey, an autographed picture, college or pro. Nah, matter of fact, I want both. I need the same for B. And then once a week, we got to sit down and have story time. B, between him and Coach Edwards, the storytelling is, I'm talking about, I don't know a better storyteller. I thought I was pretty good. Coach Buckley, oh, the stories. Now, some of it, I don't know how much has really been stretched or what's real in it, but the stories are top notch, big. But I just want to make sure I got my NIL package out on wax for me and my guy, Zach, and we'll go from there. All right, throw it to you, B.
Well, those stories are not, I mean, that's what happens, man. You're around for a long time. You pay attention, you see a lot of things. And a lot of those stories is one of those things that they stuck with me because they was amazing. You know, some of the stuff, unless you was there, you won't believe. Like, I cannot believe that this happened. Like, what is going on? What's really happening? So that you talking about some stories from 87 up until last year. That's a lot of situations that are amazing. Good, bad, and some of them ugly, you know?
That's the best part of Super Bowl week, though, is like the media coverage before the event. You get all the former NFL guys there telling these stories you never
Yes.
heard. But, Coach, I always throw this out here because we do like to talk about the national college football picture a little bit. And I don't know if you saw today. So, Coach Fred, don't even know I'm going to ask about this. Today, we saw Trinidad Chambliss get his waiver approved, 6 year of eligibility. He'll be going back to Ole Miss today.
Wow.
In court, though, Joe Judge was testifying and made the comment that that Ole Miss has conversation with significant others of Ole Miss players, and when they're pregnant, he tells them that these guys can't be there. They can't do midnight feedings. They they can't do late night diaper changes. He said these kids need sleep during the season. Off season, do all that kind of stuff. And that brought up a big conversation about work-life balance. How do you guys as a staff handle that for y'all's players? Because we know that in today's age, with some of the older players who are transferring, right, there's children involved, significant others. They could be married, could have a girlfriend. But then also, too, I want to extend this conversation, coaches, right? Because we've heard coaches say you can't be a good coach if you're going home before, 11 p.m. You got to be in the office all night. Other coaches we've heard, Bruce Arians say, if you miss a recital, I'm going to fire you. You should not be missing family stuff. Coach Buckley, your thoughts on the comments, but how do you treat your staff and your players in terms of time management, production on the field, being in the office, but also being there for their families?
Well, I'm a family man, so I'm on the side of Bruce. I don't believe it takes that long to get it done. If that's was the case, guys that, coaches staying overnight, sleeping in the office, then they should be winning Super Bowls if they're in the NFL every year, national championships if they're in college. So that model is not sustainable. And I don't believe I have a family that I like to spend time with, and the coaches are the same way. So my philosophy is you get in, we have an 8 to 5. If it takes more than that, if you have to come in early, which I have, I've been in at 4:30 a.m., but I don't do that all the time. For that week or 2 weeks, if that's what it takes, I'm going to be there at 4:30. If we have to stay till 9, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock, 12, which we've done, I would do that. But on a consistent basis, get your work done. Don't guard your desk. Is I had a head coach that was that way, and I love that. And you are more productive. I was more productive that way, and I feel like our coaches would be more productive. So get your work done, and it better be done right. If it ain't done right, now hey, we won't have to make some changes. So, but if you're doing it and doing it right, go spend some time with your family.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Coach Fred. I want to get your input.
No, I was just going to say, I think what Coach says there, just from the assistant coach's desk, I think if you're being efficient with your time, with what you're doing, then you're just really, you're burning midnight oil because that's what the Junction Boys did, right? I don't think, us sitting here, if we're done at practice, 4 o'clock, film is up by 6. I don't think we need to be in here to 1 o'clock, especially when we practice the next day at 4. We still have the morning for our morning business, whatever coach has us do. Now we still get our chance to break down the practice, go through the corrections, and be ready for meetings and still be ready, ready to hit the field. But I think a lot of that, and Coach Buck could speak to it because he's been to higher places than I've been. But I think a lot of that stands on tradition. Would you agree with that, Coach?
It is 100% tradition. You have your schedule set up. This is what time we staff. This is what time you go to lunch. This is what time you take a break. After the break, this is how many games you watch. That's kind of the traditional schedule. And as assistant for, almost 20 years, from the ACC, the SEC to the MAC, it was kind of standard. And that's one of the reasons that I'm thankful that I want to be a head coach. Say it doesn't take that, because after 6, you working from 7 to 12 o'clock. You really in there just telling stories, telling war stories, just really wasting time. I've actually witnessed a coach get his real estate license as a coach, because that's how much wasted time, free time that he had sitting in his office.
Hey, wow, man. I I wasn't expecting that one. Now that's a story we might want to hear one day. But
Yeah.
Coach, we kind of touched on it last week, and I actually had someone reach out and ask me to ask a follow up on this, because you mentioned, Coach Fred. I don't know if you saw it, but Coach Buckley said he cannot stand listening to some analysts break down
Yes.
DB play,
Yeah. Yeah.
because there'll be 4 people around the ball, but they're playing man on man, and for some reason, everyone had the same man. Coach,
Yes.
I was told to ask, how do you, like, when you break down a defensive back, like, let's just say us 3 are walking in the film room right now, Coach.
Mhm.
Give me the checklist of how you evaluate defensive backs, because this person wanted to know. They've reached out and said, "I'm so curious on how Coach Buckley evaluates defensive back play. Talk about identifying coverages. What are they good at? Do you look at footwork? Do you look at technique? Like, how do you determine who's a good defensive back and who's not?"
Well, now being here, you got to look at if he's a college player, if he's a junior college player, if he's a transfer. So now I separate the categories, because then you got to go to what are you seeing on tape. If he's making plays is the number one thing. You got to be a playmaker, right? For what I want, is he press? Is he praying press? Now you look at the technique in press. You look at, is he staying square? How long is he holding that technique? What is his exit angle? Then when they do throw the ball, is he high point? Is he waiting on it? Does he have ball skill? If he's off, kind of the same thing. The back pedal used to be a big thing. Now, if you catch somebody that can stay in their back pedal, 2 thumbs up. His explosion coming out of that. But you have to take all that and understand, how does he look in your system? Is he high school again? Is he junior college? Is he transfer? How much better can I make him with my knowledge of the game and my understanding how I'm going to teach him, and continue the process of getting better. So there's actually a lot to go to it for me. It would take, I can figure that out as far as just watching the tape in probably, let's say 5-10 minutes. Now, the other part is when you actually go see the young man and you look at his frame, look at his size, you put him on the board, you talk to him about coverages, and then you go see him do one-on-one. You actually go see him play. And within a couple plays of watching live, where does he fit? And can you get him? Because I have a level with each player. Can he be at this level? Can he be at that level? And when I was in the SEC, it would be, okay, is he a free agent? Is he a mid-round pick? Is he a second round? Is he a first rounder? So you start putting them in them categories.
And before I toss it back to Coach Frederick, I know he wants to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl, man. My guy's a big NFL guy.
Mm-hmm.
I got to ask, because it came up this week when I was watching some of the Super Bowl interviews. Where do you stand on the T-step debate?
Oh, I grew up on the T-step. That's what Mickey and that Nedick, you see the shirt I got on, Hall of Fame and Hall of Fame guys. So I'm a T-step, but also believe in this. Whatever it takes to get you to be explosive and get out of that break, go make plays. If you got to plant off the ball of your feet, the corner, I don't care, but we're going to teach the T. The T allows you to handle the double moves. I know that personally because that was one of the things, because I drove. I didn't, I was a playmaker. And so everything I understood angles, and the T-step with the wide, when you plant with the T-step, you get a wide base. So you can, when you come downhill, you could be 100 miles per hour, but it also allows you to slide, change direction just in case a double move is coming to you. So we're a T, and then I let the player decide if that's going to be continued. We're going to continue to work on that, or we got to go a different angle. And for everybody out there, that's over 30 guys that have signed professional contracts. So I know a little bit about that. 2 highest paid guys in the NFL, include me, that's been there at one point. So I know a little bit about DDs.
Oh, man. So as we transition into the Super Bowl, since we're talking about DBs, the Patriot DB, Gonzalez, we talked about him prior to. When you're watching that, man, and, some may say he's getting lucky, he's undercutting, he's getting fingertips on the ball. Take us behind the curtain, man. What level of confidence do you have to have in yourself to be out there on that island versus the number 1 receiver in the league, to say, you know what, y'all 10 go over there, I got this here by myself. What level of confidence do you have to bring to that level? I mean, to that stage to make that happen?
Well, here's the deal. You have to remember this. Gonzalez just didn't become Gonzalez for the Super Bowl. He didn't just gain that confidence for that game. He's been that guy. He's been that good for a very long time. So watching him play in the Super Bowl, breaking, undercutting, covering the best receiver in the NFL stat-wise, right? That's normal to him. So while everybody else is making a big deal about it, I'm imagining to himself, he's like, this is what I do. I make plays. I cover the best with guy. I've been doing this pretty much my whole career. So this is normal for me.
Big time. Let me ask you, since we asking you stuff on the level of debates, where are you with the right corner, left corner? I feel like at corner, you should be able to play either one. Now, I don't have on the same hoodie you have on, so your opinion would speak more about, louder volume than mine. Where do you stand on that? Is there such a thing as a right corner? Well, we know there is a such thing as a right corner, left corner. But should there be such thing as a right corner or left corner? Should you be able to play on either side?
Well, again, it depends on your system. I think the better player, all the guys I had played everywhere. You should be able to play left corner, right corner, and star is what I grew up with. But in some system, some guys perform better on one side. So you still need guys around him to perform. So if he is the left guy or the star, I played on a team where we had a guy, he was the quote unquote, not necessarily the right corner, but the boundary corner. You get that in college. That's the bigger guy. You get to the pros, you don't have that. And I think that messes up that guy that was in college that played boundary corner. because now he hasn't played in space for 3-4 years. And now all of a sudden you got this space you got to cover. And I don't know if the scouts really, when they evaluate and look at that, when they're drafting guys. I remember Xavier Rose coming out, and she should have been a top 10 pick. And I'm talking to the scouts about him, and they played their defense was man-to-man defense, following the best receiver around. And they wanted somebody physical. And so I'm looking like, okay, well, what's the issue? Xavier Rose is 6'2", 215, run 4.3. He follows the best receiver around. He puts his hands on him, and he is mean as a rattlesnake. And you gonna go draft somebody else? You're not gonna have that job. I mean, I got into it with a few guys about that. Like, what are we talking about? If you need that, this is the guy. So if they've done that, then it makes sense. And the left, right corner, I would advise every corner, if they have aspirations to go to the NFL, don't get caught up in that. Play all over the field. Make yourself more valuable.
So as we lead into that debate, we had something else happen exciting this weekend, man. B, I don't know if you're a Madden player, but my head coach got his Madden rating, got his Madden color card. Speak, coach, how that come about, man? That's a huge feat, man.
Stats don't lie. So instead of talking about it and doing all that, Madden dropped their thing and the card they rated you on production and stats and your ability. So and they got it down as one of the highest on Madden and I would say just based on the stats. Like it or not, you agree, just like the Hall of Fame, just like we talked about them not putting Belichick and in the Hall of Fame on the first ballot or Robert Kraft. Well, the numbers don't lie. They don't lie with players, and they don't lie with them Super Bowls that Coach Belichick had. So that's what's good about it. And the cards remind me of what we talked about too, golf. If you win 20 tournaments, you go into the Hall of Fame. With them trading cards, they do it. They base it on what your stats are, the production, and it's not word of mouth where I like this guy, I don't like him, or he didn't speak to me, so I'm not going to vote for him for this. That's, to me, what I like about the card, because it really shows, for me personally, over my career, number-wise, that I have those type numbers, them Hall of Fame numbers.
So before I throw it back to B, when they do come calling, and what I told him, B, was when we get him in, we coming. We don't want to hear he ain't got no tickets, he got family. Me and you coming because we getting him in the Hall of Fame, right? But when you go in, what hat you putting on?
Well, first of all, already in my mind, Hall of Famer. So to me, if they never call or do anything, we talked about this before. I don't need a jacket to verify what I did in the NFL. The numbers don't lie. But if they do call, I don't know. Obviously, my best years was with the Miami Dolphins, but that would never happen. Just like I said about Super Bowl with Tom Brady, you got to have that first one. The cheese, I'm a cheesehead too. The Green Bay Packers, Ron Wolf, Mike Hogan, Ray Rhodes, those guys gave me that opportunity, and I'm forever appreciative of them.
B, you're a Dolphin fan, right? Well, you were.
Yeah. No, I still am.
Yeah.
It's funny, Coach. So I'm from Alabama, so we kind of get free reign to pick our NFL team because we don't have one
Yes.
here. My dad grew up a Dolphins fan because of Dan Marino.
Yes.
because he met Dan Marino at the Senior Bowl, and him and my uncle were big fans. But then also, my mom's from Tampa, so I kind of just flipped between the Bucks and the Dolphins. The whole life because I didn't really have a team, man. But it's been a long. You see, the problem is, Coach T Buck was there before I was born in '96, so I mean, the last playoff win they had was, I think, T-Buck's year. They won what'd y'all win? 98, I think, was the last playoff win for that franchise?
Yeah, I wanted. Yeah, for me, my last one. Yeah, no, it was. No, we didn't make it in '03. Yeah, it was against Jacksonville.
Yeah. So, Coach,
And
I was 2 years old the last time the Dolphins won a playoff game, so it's been a
mm,
long run of being real upset as a Dolphins fan for me. So, I
yes.
it kind of went back and forth, but it was good to have Tom Brady for a year in Tampa. It was cool. But, Coach, I gotta ask, going back to the Super Bowl, we saw the Seahawks defense, man, play at such an elite level, and me and you kinda talked about leading into the game, you played on an elite defense, that
Hmm.
Patriots team that won the Super Bowl. When you went back and looked at that game, obviously they identified the weakness. It was the left side of that offensive line, and they just rotated guy after guy and gave those two young offensive tackle, offensive guard hell all night. But what I think a lot of people missed was they were so creative with their defensive back blitz as well. I think it was Witherspoon that they brought on the blitz. They said he didn't blitz all year, coach, and they add that
Hmm.
wrinkle into the Super Bowl. How creative do you have to be to make the DB blitz work? It coming from a former defensive back.
You can be as creative as you want if you have some pass rushing because they have to slide and respect. If they got to respect two guys on one side, you could be creative on the other side, create those mismatch. Because you could take that guy that's away from the blitz, start him on the blitz, which we call fire zone, and then drop him back to that spot that was being boarded, slide everybody else the other way. And I tip my hat to him. Uh, one of my former colleagues is the linebacker coach up there in Seattle, Chris Partridge. We worked with each other at my last stop, University of Mississippi. So, and I know how smart he is in understanding those concepts. So they did a wonderful job. With it started and ended with that front four. The front four got after them, and that allowed Witherspoon and them to run them. I call them the fire zone blitzes.
If I'm not mistaken, you were in New England with Vrabel, correct?
Yes.
Talk a little bit like, 'cause I'll say this, coach. I think the leading up into the Super Bowl, people who really didn't know Mike Vrabel became fans of Mike Vrabel just because of all the clips that dropped, man. I don't know if you saw, coach, after the game, he sat in front of the locker room and made sure to pick up every single player that was into the locker
Hmm.
room saying, "This one game doesn't define you," and, like, I mean,
Hmm.
he was every single player. Coach, what type of person was he at New England, and do you think, man, he'll get back to the Super Bowl, man? He's like that type of coach because he had him rolling year 1 this year.
He's that type of coach. He was that type of player. I'm telling you guys, when you are used to winning and you have won, you got Super Bowl rings, you understand what it looks like.
Mhm.
That's what you get because he knows it's not about him. He got his. I tell the player, I don't need no more admiration. I don't need no pats on the back. I mean, I got all that.
Mm.
So Vrabel understands all that. And that's what allows him to be selflessness. He's like, we will. And to finish your question, yes, I think he has proven that he is a winner, and most likely he will get New England back there because they do have a young defense and they have a young, pretty darn good quarterback.
And to kind of bringing this all for full circle back to Valley, coach, how often do you just talk about building a winning culture at Valley? When you talk about these guys, you talk about because you've been on teams that haven't won, right? And you've been on teams that have been at the highest pinnacle of this sport, and there's a difference. You feel the energy difference in the locker room and with that team. How much do you convey that to the players on what needs to be done behind the scenes? Because everyone knows what it takes to win on the field, right?
Hmm.
Execution, discipline, don't have any penalties. You got to go make plays. mention playmaker all the time, but a lot of these guys getting to Valley may not know what it takes behind the scenes in terms of building a championship culture. How do you convey that to them?
Well, through everyday action, it's a consistent discipline that you have to display, whether that's in the weight room, whether that's for us in the classroom, or outdoor conditioning, film studying, how we communicate to one another, and what we do in the community. I know Nick Saban used the process. To me, it's earning the right to win. When you are earning the right to win, you understand what it takes. You buy into that process, and you do it on a consistent daily basis.
Coach Fred?
With that being said, B, I'm gonna tell you now, we just had a short little deal, and he does convey that message, right? Some of the new guys were there, and you could see them rocking back and forth in their chairs. He's talking, he's here, but the message is going here, right? And you can see that. And then, I'm in the back, and I'm just like, okay, that's the same thing he's talking to us in the morning at the staff meeting. So it's one of those deals. And like he said, man, once you've been a winner, you expect it, and you can tell that coach expects it. Just like I'm expecting him to bump my pay up because I'm saying all these things on wax. You know what I mean? But Coach, my last question for you, because we're talking about the Super Bowl, because New England's defense played lights out, right? I mean, they played lights out for as long as they possibly could. As a former player, as a player, was there ever a time that you were in that situation where you guys were just, I mean, it was punt after punt, you were lights out, but you could see, you starting to go downhill. As a player, how did you deal with that with the offense? Like, hey, come on, did you lose it? And then as a coach, being on the coaching side, how do you deal with that from the standpoint of, hey guys, we got to keep pitching? No matter what's going on, the offense is going to pick it up at some point, but we got to keep pitching. Now, after about 5 straight series of 3 and out, they start to waver. Now, how do you grab them back? How did you grab yourself back as a player?
Well, I prided myself on being a pro, and yes, I was a part of a few of those type games, a bunch of those games. And you got to remind yourself, those guys prepared just as hard as I did, if they did, and they're trying. And sometimes that guy on the other side of you, this is not video games like we just talked about. This is not a commentator sitting up there talking about how our players feeling and what they're going through. This is something your brother that you've been with that is having a tough time out there. And so my attitude is like, I have to do my part. Not only am I a pro, I love to compete, but I'm getting paid to do that. And so when I hear guys talk about, well, they getting mad at the offense or mad at the defense, no, they're not. They know guys are trying. You're not trying to give up the sacks. You're not trying to get beat. Nobody's trying to do that. Sometimes guys are just better. And you accept that and you move on. But as long as you give it 100%, and I know you've prepared yourself for battle, that's all you can ask for.
There it is, B.
I got 2 last questions. I'm not going to let him get off easy. I told him I'm always going to have a hard question for him at the end. I got
love
2 actually. One's an easy one, one's a hard one. Because I've heard this question asked a million times this week as I watch all the Super Bowl media. What was your welcome to the NFL moment?
Man. Shucks. Mine really wasn't anything on the field. It was the national anthem. And sitting there and seeing the performance, listening to them sing, you thinking, you following along, they flying the jets over the top, and that dream that that once dream that you had about being out there and being on the field, now it's there. And you realize that you're like, wow, I'm out here with the best. And at the time, I'm in Green Bay, and before Brett Favre, people don't realize our quarterback was the Magic Man. So I'm out here with the Magic Man. So to me, just being in that atmosphere and because I held out, it was one of those things I held out, and I didn't know if it was gonna happen. All that came together, just standing out there like, man, I'm with one of the greatest franchises ever. Getting ready to play in the NFL at Lambeau Field. I mean, does it get any better than this? That was kind of my moment. Not getting knocked and drug on the field and getting run over and all. I mean, that's part of the game. But that I got run over one time, man. So I'll tell this story. I got run over. I ain't gonna tell you who it was. Man, I got run over so bad. I hit Dylan. I'm gonna say Dylan. Hit him in the A gap. He ran me over, put me on my back, and he was running me over, and he stepped on my chest, which he hit me so hard and stepped on my chest. My momentum took me over, so I got up running. Now he was on this side running. I was running straight down the middle of the field. I didn't know where I was going, but I was just running. That's what you taught, run. Man, he put that forearm on me. It was something. It was looking at it on tape. I was proud of myself. I was really proud of myself. I got up running. I had no idea where I was at though.
You're proud though.
That clip to teach your players, like, this is what I'm talking about with effort here. Like,
Yeah.
I was given effort. It might not have been in the right place, but there was effort given
It
on
was
the
in the right place, but like that goes back to what I said earlier, man. Sometimes, hey, some guys pros too, and you gonna take some now.
Oh man.
And then the final question, coach, we're gonna build. I got a few. I would say qualities here. I need you to give me a DB from your time period that you would pick to build your perfect DB.
Oh
We'll start.
man, that
We'll start with IQ. One DB from your era that you would say, if you're building a perfect DB, you'll take his IQ.
man. Well, it has to be Darryl Green. Yeah, he played for 30 years.
We
Shout
got
out
Daryl.
Darryl Green.
Darryl Green.
There you go. Hands.
Yeah, I gotta go. Shucks. It's got to be Deion.
All right, so you use prime for that one, so you can't use prime for this one. We got speed next.
Dang, I used the Darryl for that. Speed. That's a great question. You took my two gone. Can I say Daryl Sanders?
Daryl Sanders. I'll give you this. I'll let you pick prime for speed too, but you can't pick them again. We got feet
Okay.
next. Feet or
Feet,
technique to go together.
feet technique that is Darrell Reeves. That's easy.
Ooh, I like that you picked Revis there because it might make this one a little bit harder. Size.
Size. Hmm. You know, I'm not a size guy. So physicality and all that, Ty Law. I go Ty Law.
Physicality was next, so we'll put Ty there, and then the final one, coach, agility.
Man, I should have changed. I should have went. I'm missing somebody. I think hands. I might need to change. I think Sante Samuel is. I'm
Okay.
missing him in there with the hands, agility, man. See, I don't think you need great agility to be a great corner. So I wouldn't even that wouldn't even be one of my categories.
I like it.
It would be control and technique, which that's Darrell Reeves.
Yeah. You had Revis there. So, Coach, that's a pretty good defensive back.
Yes, that is.
You
Coach
didn't say
Fred?
yourself.
Yeah. Coach Fred was trying to
I'm
get you to say
pointing at you
yourself.
like you didn't say yourself or none of that.
Well, I can't. You don't want to pick yourself.
I mean, you talking speed. I mean, Madden car. What you 96 in Madden on speed?
Hands, all that, but I ain't. If you can't pick yourself. Those are guys that I look at, and there's a couple more. I played with two, Sam Madison and Patrick Surtain, that could easily fit. Now you want to talk about attitude and just the attitude you want. 2'9", Sam Madison. And then obviously Patrick Surtain all around could do it all. So I played with two other guys that could fit easily, in the category too.
I know we're about to wrap it up, but then you just put a thought in my head. Do you see Pat Sr. in Pat Jr.? Do you see any of that?
Obviously he taught him. You don't get that technique. Bloodline, I call him, was an NFL player probably after his freshman year in college. He's that size. He's big. He's fast. But he wouldn't be the defensive player of the year and all that, in my opinion, without his dad. I mean, you got to have something, this technique and understanding of the game. You don't just pick that up like that at that level, that soon, without somebody like dad teaching him and pouring into him the right way.
So do you see Samuels Sr. and Samuels Jr.?
Yeah, same thing. Senior is just a little bigger, but Sante had that fight because he's not very big like I was. So the quickness, the angles, the hands, the knowledge of the game is above obviously average, has to be there. And that's what allowed him to be a pretty darn good corner in the league.
Did you play with Sterling Sharp, or was he gone by the time you got there?
SS? Yeah, I played with SS.
Okay,
I
couldn't
couldn't work
remember.
out with SS. We tell that's who has to work out before the game. SS, if Sterling, he's in the Hall of Fame now, but it should have happened a lot sooner than that. But you talking about probably the greatest receiver, he could have been in that conversation, be the greatest receiver, because I have Jerry Rice as the greatest football player. So Sterling, besides Jerry being the greatest receiver football player, Sterling Sharp should be in that conversation. If he wouldn't got hurt, he would have been.
I always say that. That's a little bit before Zach time, but I always say had Sterling not had that neck injury, there's no telling where those records would be, because he was just that big dude that was just that guy. So I didn't know if he was down by the time you got there or not. I couldn't remember.
Yes, spent 3 seasons with him.
Because we had that whole conversation last week, Coach Fred, that you missed because we talked about Dan Marino
Yeah,
last
you
week.
wasn't there. You wasn't there.
Yeah, you weren't there. So, we talked about what Dan Marino's stats would have been if he would have had you imagine Dan Marino with like a Jerry Rice or a Randy Moss in their prime and what he
But
would
he
have
had but he had the Marx Brothers. Before that, the Marx Brothers was the guys.
Well, people also forget how loaded the NFL was at that. So like to win the Super Bowl for the Dolphins, man. Look at the legendary teams they would have had to go through at that point too. Like Dan was putting up. Dan was never the reason they didn't win, Coach. Let's put that out there. It was never Dan's fault that they didn't win a Super Bowl.
Never.
Yeah,
Make that
I
very
get that.
clear. But we'll put
I
a
get
bow on
that.
this, man, because obviously we're gonna have more episodes this offseason, and we'll be breaking down NFL, everything that's going on in Mississippi Valley State as well. So, guys, make sure to tune in next week. It might be our last episode where we take a little bit of a break as we kind of wait to spring training, but we'll have to do one last episode next week to put a bow on these first 7 episodes that we've done. But for myself, for Coach Leroy Frederick, for Coach Terrell Buckley. Shout out to the V Club for powering this show. We'll be back next week. But for right now, guys, we're out.